Greg, obviously it's another just game under their belt so early in their careers, but Alexis and Will seemed a lot more kind of comfortable, fluid tonight. What type of growth did you like in game 1 and game 2?
Yeah, I think, aside from, Will's fouls, which I think have to happen for him to learn and continue to grow, I thought both of them did good things. And it was good for Alexis to get in and get some rhythm and play in longer stretches. Obviously Will's foul trouble and Aussie's foul trouble helped that a little bit. I left him in longer than normal, but he just needs that. They both need that. The more experience they can get, I think the faster they'll grow and the more they'll grow. And specifically for Alexis, just getting more comfortable because of just everything. That's been a huge transition for him. Language. Just start with language alone, just with, he's done a really good job of being really positive and just continue to ask, how can I help? How can I get better? And it was good to see, to get them some more minutes, which will help expedite their experience.
Right there in the middle.
Coach, you had a couple short stints tonight with none of the starting guards on the floor. What about this team gives you the confidence to be able to try those lineups, and what did you see in those stints from those groups?
Yeah, I want to continue to, much like with the younger big guys, develop different combinations that we can use and see who works well together, who, if you have, hopefully you don't have foul troubles or other things down the road where there's probably not going to be a lot of times you'll have Boyd and Blackwell both off the floor at the same time, but I think those guys do a good job and I'm still learning, Carrington's game. I still want to get, Hayden Jones more time, which I think for both those guys tonight was good. Rhodey is solid, other than a couple reach fouls that we'll clean up. But, I'm still learning. It's not only just to rest those guys and to not have anybody play over 26 minutes it's always a great idea going into it, and games very seldom work out that way where you can do that. But I needed to get, much like those bigs, even though Carrington's a senior, I need to get him more comfortable with us, and the same thing obviously with Hayden, and so it was good. When you're able to do that, it's always a benefit to get guys more experience and more laps around the track.
Coach, your defense forced early in the 9 to 17 turnovers tonight. What did you like most from your defense from game 1 to game 2 tonight?
Yeah, I thought we were really intense from the beginning and really had. We were really focused pretty much the whole game. I think the only thing defensively I didn't like was we fouled too much at times, and some of it are going to be learning opportunities where we didn't jump wall right properly at the rim. Maybe we reached and where we didn't need to reach and use our hands too early in a dribble drive situation. But I didn't think we got beat to the rim. I thought our help was there earlier. And we were better for the most part at containing the dribble. I'll look through the film and see, what we can clean up from the fouls and versus what is a foul in November that might not be a foul in January when we get to, bigger, more physical teams that they tend to let more things go. But regardless, I like the consistency of our defensive discipline for the most part. I thought it was really good early, and we were able to sustain it for the most part.
John, go ahead.
With Nick, obviously quite the first half there. Is that kind of the impact that you kind of envisioned him having when you got him in the portal?
Well, you never know until you get him here, right, and have him go through and learn. And the thing about him, he wants to get better. He wants to be challenged. He's hard on himself. Like a couple of ball screens he got refused on, or picked up a foul on a ball screen refusal from a wing. He owned it, and the maturity and the other thing is just he's a bulldog. He just his competitive spirit is really, really high, and he wants to win in the worst way, and obviously he's a talented player, and it really complements our backcourt when you have a guy that can explode like that, and obviously we know what Blackwell can do, and so it gives us a good combination there. And I thought Nick, for the most part, took what was given to him. He didn't force too much. There's a couple here or there, but those are going to happen when you have really good players, you got to let them go a little bit too, let the horses run, so to speak. And he always, when something doesn't go right, he's pretty quick to own it and know that he has to correct it.
Right in front of your coach.
Yeah.
When you get to that stretch in the first half where some of the guys in the front court have the foul trouble and you have to go as far down your bench as you do, just what are you trying to learn about that part of your rotation and down the bench for some reserves who don't have a ton of collegiate experience, guys like Robson?
Yeah, who handles game time? Everybody wants to play until they get their name called, right? And I thought Jack did some good things. I think he was solid. And the one rebound where he lost it, he said he got fouled. I said, no, we don't say we got fouled. We just didn't chin the ball for his turnover. But I think for him, again, it's another. I don't know if I caught him by surprise, to throw him in there, but I knew it was a good matchup in terms of like-sized guys, and we could switch some things if we needed to. And I trust him on the offensive end to make good decisions. So, you never know, as I tell them all the time, stay ready so you don't have to get ready, because you never know when I'm going to call your name. So I thought he helped us, getting through with Aussie and Will getting some fouls to get us into the halftime, and where those guys get to get back and get into the rotation.
Coach, you mentioned in the preseason how John and Nick, they're playing against each other during practice. How have you felt them coexist in the first couple games of them playing together, and where do you see that growth going forward?
Yeah, I think we're still growing that combination together. I think John's ability, and John's been here, so he understands. He's had, this is year 3 in our program. Regardless of what we're doing offensively, defense, he understands what I want, and he understands what it takes to win at this level. Not that Nick doesn't, because Nick does. He's won everywhere he's went. But the ability to bring others along with you if it gets a little scattered or a little tattered, John's really good at calming and bringing everybody back together, and Nick's continuing to improve upon that of rallying everybody back. As a lead guard, you have to have that quality to you. They're different personalities. John is very smooth and kind of steady Eddie. Nick is more of a firecracker. So they kind of balance each other a little bit. I think the thing I want to help Nick continue to grow is his ability to manage games, and he did a good job tonight of trying to get call play to get Blackwell involved on, because he hadn't had a shot at one point in time, and in a timeout he was like, hey, let's run something for John and get him a touch and get him going a little bit. So those wheels are starting to spin for him. I don't know those types of responsibilities he had at the other places he was, but here and knowing what is coming, understanding, playing the game the right way, thinking about things the right way all the time, regardless of what the score is. Don't worry about the scoreboard, and how that can help prepare us for what's coming when the water gets deeper, so to speak.
Go, Michael.
You had a moment like this early last season whenever Isaac puts the ball in the basket. Obviously, that livens things up, I guess. What does that moment mean to you and mean to the team?
Yeah, I mean, for the team, I just know, I'm sure it hasn't been easy being the coach's kid on a team, right? And specifically since we live in a fishbowl, it's a high-profile sport at a high-profile institution, so there's a lot of responsibility and pressure that comes with that, just being on the team. But he's earned that. He's worked exceptionally hard on his game. He's grown. He's committed to the weight room. He's done a great job with Coach Snyder in the weight room. He's a culture keeper too, meaning he understands. I mean, he's been in this gym since the day he came home from the hospital when he was born. So he knows the ins and outs of Wisconsin basketball and what has made this place so strong and so stable for so long, because he's watched it. He's been with me on the road recruiting. He's been on road trips with me when he was younger and could travel. He's lived it and breathed it, and he's worked at it. Just didn't get handed to him. He's had to work, and he's improved. I mean, he can shoot it. I wasn't surprised that thing went in, because I've seen a lot of them go in in practice. So, but he's a really, really good teammate too. I think he's handled his role really, really well. He understands his role. It's a very important role. All of our walk-ons understand that, and everybody, all 14 of them understand they're all very important. You know, they're all going to have different accolades, and you're going to interview, you know, a certain group of them. Some guys will never get interviewed, but they understand their role and how important they are to our program and how important they are to this team. You can't have guys in that position that don't value the team concept and uphold those things and enhance those things. And I'm really, really proud of him, of how he's handled everything. He's a terrific student, going to get his master's degree here after getting his undergrad last year. I'm sure his mom will want a meeting with Mr. Van der Wettering for we joke, that's his agent, his mom, my wife. So Mark, I know Mark's been hanging on. Mark, is your phone rung yet, Matt? Mark, you're probably gonna be, we're kidding, there ain't gonna be no meeting. He's on the Greg and Michelle NIL deal. He's doing fine, but he works, man. The kid, I'm proud of him. I keep reminding myself that this is the last lap around the track too. You know, he's a senior, and I wanted to redshirt him when he was in kindergarten, and his mom wouldn't let me. She was very academic focused, and he's ready for kindergarten. I'm like, man, he could be, 19 when he graduates high school, not just barely 18, and he's a late bloomer. But really proud of him and happy for him, and you can see the team's reaction. He's just one of the guys, and he's been a good piece of this program, a good part of this program, and he's got a lot of good things coming ahead of him in his future after he graduates.
We have one more question.
Coach, a quick one on Zach. I think in the past you mentioned not wanting to really redshirt guys anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen Zach in these first two games. Is he
Right.
potentially an exception to that?
Yeah, I think Zach came to me probably a week ago, and we talked about it, and he's contemplating it. He wants to get his degree from Wisconsin. He wants to contribute at a high level, but he knows that he's got experienced and older guys in front of him that, quite frankly, are older and more experienced, so they have a head start. But he just is still contemplating. We've talked about, I'm not going to go into detail on exactly, but talked about, hey, what do I need to get better at? What can I do to make sure I'm an integral part of this in the future? And he will be. And I think too, giving young men that opportunity, even though we're in a changing landscape, it's made us who we are. We've had a lot of really, really good players redshirt, and of course you're going to be better at 23 than you are at 18. And the fact that he said, Coach, I want to get my degree from here, not leaving. I just need to get better, and I need that experience. And I think the other thing of being an in-state kid and understanding who we are and who we have been, that, he's in here, he's in this for the long haul. He's a committed Badger. And when you have those type of when you approach me in that way, I definitely we're still thinking about it. We haven't officially, and that really won't become official until after the season if he doesn't appear in any games. But I said, right now, if you're undecided, we'll just not put you in until we get to a point, and hopefully, knock on wood, nothing happens and nobody gets hurt. Because I think his future can be very impactful here. He's just got really good guards in Blackwell and Boyd that he can learn from. And that's what I told him when he said, your best teacher and best experience for this year has been being eyed up nose to nose with Nick Boyd every day. And that's going to help him more than anything, and more than he realizes it right now. He doesn't see, as younger players don't, they see everything under a microscope, not in a telescope. So I think that day-to-day, hand-to-hand combat with Nick will really, really help him.